Alright, I am back with another raid guide for World of Warcraft. Today we are going to be continuing through the Burning Crusade raids, and this means that we are going to be taking a look at MAGTHERIDON'S Lair. So I'm going to show you how to get there the fastest way, and that is to go to the portal room in Orgrimmar, or Stormwind if you are Alliance, of course. And in Orgrimmar, you're going to go down to the bottom floor. You're going to want to find the Shatrath portal. And there it is, the Shatrath portal. But we're not going to go in the Shatrath portal. Actually, we're going to talk to this Thrallmar mage next to it. And we're going to say, I must report to the Dark Portal. And he is going to actually take us to Hellfire Peninsula. Right here at the Dark Portal in Outland. And this is the zone where MAGTHERIDON'S Lair is located. As you'll see, it is right here in the middle of Hellfire Citadel. So we're going to go ahead and fly on over there. Alright, so here we are approaching Hellfire Citadel. Now, MAGTHERIDON'S Lair is very much like Gruul's Lair, which I just did a guide on. A very short raid. In fact, this raid is only one boss long. And the entrance to it is just right down here. You go around the back side of Hellfire Citadel, and you fly down here. There's this little path leading to this little entrance right here. So we're going to go ahead and zone on in. Alright, so here we are inside MAGTHERIDON'S Lair. We're going to go ahead and take a look at all the things here. We're going to look at these quests first, in case you are tracking quests. The Fall of MAGTHERIDON, you get MAGTHERIDON'S head after you kill him, and you turn that into somebody. That one's pretty simple. And this quest here is a part of a chain. So if you're doing the quest in Outland, you'll eventually get to that chain, and it'll lead you here. So pretty simple for the quests, and again, pretty simple for this raid. If we take a look at the map, it's very, very small. Literally just one boss, and so we're going to go ahead and go down here. There's some ads here. You don't have to worry about them, but we're going to go ahead and go down this left side here. It doesn't matter which side you go down, obviously. You just got to go all the way down to the bottom. And I pulled the ads. We're going to go ahead and kill them. And here we are. So we are down here at the bottom, and what we have to do to actually kill MAGTHERIDON is kill each of these cultists. This might seem pretty self-explanatory, but just in case you need some help figuring that out, there you go. That's what you have to do. Kill all the cultists, and then he is ready to be killed. So we're going to go ahead and do that and loot him. So as far as loot for this place goes, in my two previous videos for Burning Crusade raids, I talked about these. Alright, I guess we're gonna have to do something about this real quick. Yeah, so when you kill the boss, it actually pulls all the trash in the instance, like, down to you. So all those guys just got pulled down to me, and they're kind of annoying, so took care of that real quick. But as I was saying, in my two previous videos, the ones on Karazhan and Gruul's Lair, I talked about these peace tokens and how to use them. I'm going to go ahead and add a section onto this video doing the same thing, and it's kind of just going to be a standard section for these peace tokens from now on for these Burning Crusade raids, because it's pretty much the same thing for each of them. So from MAGTHERIDON'S Lair, we have just some normal TMOG items here, and then we have the chest piece. Now this chest piece is actually going to give us the chest piece for the set, if we scroll all the way down here, that says Gruul's Lair. So you get some of the pieces from Gruul's Lair for this, you get some of the pieces from Karazhan, and you get some of them from MAGTHERIDON'S Lair. So it's it says Gruul's Lair on it, but know that it is actually from 3 different places, and the same goes for this set here. But I'm going to talk about the difference between these sets and how to get each of them in this next section. We actually have to go to a vendor, and I will meet you back in Orgrimmar, where we will travel to this vendor, and I will tell you how these tokens work. Alright, here we are in the Orgrimmar portal room, and we are going to be going downstairs in here to the Shatrath portal. Now, this Shatrath portal is going to take us where we need to go to get to the vendor that we're going to need to get the PvP versions of these sets. And if that sentence doesn't make a lot of sense, don't worry, I'm going to explain it all as we get there. Downstairs in the Orgrimmar portal room if you're Horde, and obviously just in the Stormwind portal room if you're Alliance, you're going to look for the Shatrath portal, and you're going to go ahead and take it. So each of these tokens that we're going to get from these bosses in these Burning Crusade raids can be used for 2 different sets of gear. If we take a look at these sets, we're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom. We have 2 sets that are identical, just different colors, and we have 2 other sets that are identical, different colors, 2 more, and then we have 2 more right here. So basically the 2 different things that you can do with these tokens will give you these 2 different variations of the sets for the most part here. So as you can see, this set says Gruul's Lair, and so this is going to actually cover Gruul's Lair, Karazhan, and MAGTHERIDON'S Lair. So this video is for MAGTHERIDON'S Lair, so your tokens for MAGTHERIDON'S Lair, if you were to right click them and use them, it will give you this piece located here on the Gruul's Lair set. So that's your first option, is just right clicking the piece and getting this first set of gear. But you actually have to do something different to get this second set of gear, and that's why we're here in Shattrath. We're going to look for, here's a portal back to Orgrimmar or Stormwind, and we're going to look for a little alcove that has a singular portal in it, right over here. The portal to the Isle of Keldanos. We're going to go ahead and take that. And the reason we're going here is because there is a vendor that we need to go to that is going to give us this second set variation. So here we are. There's a portal back to Shattrath that doesn't actually work. You're not able to use it. But we're not too worried about that. We're going to jump down here or go down, you know, the ramps or whatever. And we're going to go to this building across the way. And we're going to climb up the ramp here and go up to the very top. So, like I said, to get this PvP version, as you see it says Season 1 on it, to get these pieces of the PvP version, you take your tokens from the raid, unused, and you go to these vendors here. There's a bunch of different vendors. You see there's one there, one there, one there, and one there. Now, there's 4 vendors, and there are 4 sets here. So you see there's one, these 2 are the first set, these 2 are the second set, these 2 are the third set, and these 2 are the 4th set. Now the 4th set's a little bit different, but I'll explain that in a second. So for this first set, we're going to want to go to this vendor right here. And we're going to go ahead and look at her options that she gives us. So if you look at these different pieces, these are the Gladiator's Dragonhide, Spalder's Dragonhide Helm. If we look at the appearance of these and equip them, you can see that these are simply just this set. So you buy these off of this vendor. Now, what does this cost you? It doesn't cost you gold or anything. It actually costs you your token. So you see Pauldron's the Fallen Defender. If I had a token from Gruul's Lair, you can exchange it for this PvP version instead of using it. You want to not use the token and exchange it for the PvP version. Now, like I said, this Gruul's Lair set actually has pieces that come from the first 3 raids here: Karazhan, Gruul's Lair, and MAGTHERIDON'S Lair. And I mentioned that in each of the videos on those. So if you're, confused as to why you're missing pieces, but you have everything from Gruul's Lair, that could be why. So make sure you keep that in mind. So if we look at this vendor here, you will see that the cost, this is from Karazhan, the Curator, the gloves. This is from Gruul's Lair, Karazhan, Gruul's Lair, MAGTHERIDON'S Lair, and so on. So you may be wondering why there's so many different pieces here, because there's not that many tokens. And that is because there are basically 3 options for each of your tokens here. So there are 3 versions of this set that are exactly identical. The only thing different about them is the name. There are 3 versions of this set that are exactly identical. The only thing different about them is the name. Now, I'm going to mention quickly how to get those different versions. And the only reason you would want to do this is in case you are collecting all the things in our settings here with sources on. So what plus sources turned on does is it counts each different named version of an item as a separate thing to collect. So if we go ahead and look for, let's use this helmet as an example, the Crown of Malorn. So if we search for the Crown of Malorn, here it is. We're going to right click on it, and we're going to see that we can call this 3 different things: Stag Helm of Malorn, Antlers of Malorn, or Crown of Malorn. And this is because these are the 3 different versions that come from our token. So we're going to go ahead and look at the vendor and look at the token here. And it should show us, as you see on the contained section of each of your tokens, it will show you that it contains 6 items. 3 of these items are the 3 variations of the normal set, and 3 of them are the variations of the PvP set. Now the PvP set simple, those 3 variations are simply all found on this vendor. As you see, we have, let's use the shoulders as an example again, Gladiator's Dragonhide Spalders, which I have collected. We have the Gladiator's Wormhide Spalders over here, which I do not have collected. Again, these are the same appearance. If we show that appearance and show this appearance, they're the same. The only reason this shows is not collected is because I have that sources mode on. I normally don't collect with that on, but I'm mentioning this just in case that is something you want to do. It adds a lot of things that you have to collect, because obviously you would have to get 6 shoulder tokens for your class in order to get all of the variations. And you don't gain any more TMOG, you don't gain an extra number on your, on your shoulders section. This isn't going to go up to 301 when I get another one. It's simply going to give me the option to name it something else when you right click on it. So that is how the sources works, the plus sources. So as I said, simply the PvP versions. So for this second set here, the PvP versions, you just buy the 3 versions off the vendor. Here's the first shoulders Dragonhide, the second shoulders Wormhide, and on the second page over here we should have the Kodo hide, which I do not have collected as well. If I turn sources mode off, you'll see that these 2 shoulder pieces that I have not collected will change to the blue check mark with the circle and the little asterisk next to it. This tells you that you don't have this specific named version, but you have the appearance, and that's how you tell the difference. So it's still going to count these as collected. As you see when I mouse over the vendor here, it says I have 15 out of 15, but some of those have that blue check mark with the circle. So that's how that works. That's how you get the 3 variations of the PvP version. And then there are the 3 other versions of each of these pieces, which you get all of them from using your actual tokens. So you see it says use, create class set item appropriate for your loot specialization. So how that works is simply what it says. You're going to use the token and it's going to give you the piece, but for your appropriate loot specialization. Now, your loot specialization is generally set to your class specialization. Druid is a little bit different because Druid has 4 specializations, but basically they just combine Feral and Guardian into 1. So every class should have 3 different specializations, giving you 3 different versions of the piece of gear. So how this works is you're going to right click on your portrait and you're going to mouse over loot specialization and you're going to change it to whichever one you are looking for. So say I want the balance version, say I have source mode on and I get a shoulder piece and I want to collect the balance version of those shoulders. I'm going to change my loot specialization to balance, use the shoulders, and then it will give me the named version. As you can see, if we look at the helmet here, we actually have the Dragonhide helm as the first one, the Stag helm on Malorn as the second one. That is the Feral and Guardian version, normal version. We have the Kodo hide helm not collected. That's the secondary PvP one. We have the Crown of Malorn collected. That is the Restoration Druid version. The Wormhide helm not collected. That is the PvP version. And the Antlers of Malorn is collected. That is the balanced version. So I have all 3 versions of this that come from using the token and changing your loot specialization. So if I was missing one of those, I would change my specialization to that specific spec and then use it. And then all that would give me is this same piece of gear, but as we saw here, just the separate named version. So as you can see, I do have all 3 of those named versions of the Crown of Malorn. So that is how the tokens work. Hopefully that made sense. Again, your tokens from these first 3 raids are going to be going to this vendor here, and I will explain the same thing in my next videos and just have a little bit of different details on these other sets because there are certain things that are slightly different. So that actually brings me to my last point that I want to make and last thing I want to point out here, and that is these couple missing pieces on this first set. As you can see, I do not have the belt or the boots for this PvP set. I do have them for the normal PvE version, but I do not have them for the PvP version. I'm going to explain why that is. So as you can see, there are no belt or boot options on this vendor here, and that is because there are no tokens that are for the belt or boots that come from those 3 raids, Karazhan, Gruul's Lair, and Magtheridon's Lair. So certain pieces just don't have tokens, and instead have just random pieces of gear from bosses that count as the appearance. So like as an example, this belt here, the Cord of Nature's Sustenance. If we go into Karazhan and look at a random boss, it's not a random boss. This is the one it comes from, is Illhoof right here. We can see Cord of Nature's Sustenance. That is where that comes from. So certain pieces of each set are going to just come off of random bosses and aren't going to be found from a token. Now, the only issue with that is that you're then not able to just go to the PvP vendor and turn in the token to get the PvP version. You actually have to go to a separate vendor, and pretty much rule of thumb is if you're missing a piece for one of these sets, chances are it's going to come from a vendor if you have everything collected out of the raids. So the vendor for the Burning Crusade PvP sets and PvP items you might be missing is actually located, I'm going to look at the map here. If we look in Outland and we look at Netherstorm up here at the top, the PvP vendor is going to be located over here in Area 51 of Netherstorm. So it's kind of a trek to fly up there, and you actually have to do PvP in order to get those pieces. Pretty much any old PvP piece of gear is going to cost you an item called a Mark of Honor, which you get for exchanging in your honor, which is the currency you get for PvPing. So basically, you just PvP, you get Marks of Honor, and you buy those last couple pieces off of the vendor. You know, I actually have some Marks of Honor, and I'm actually missing the boots and the belt here. And it looks like I can afford both of those. So I'm going to go ahead and go on over there and just buy those. And I'll meet you there. Here we are in the Orgrimmar portal room. Down by the portal of the Shatrath. To get to Netherstorm, it's going to be faster if we take the Thrallmar Mage, and so we must report to the Dark Portal. And then fly up to Netherstorm from Hellfire Peninsula. We can just fly across this little gap here. Alright, so here we are in Area 52 in Netherstorm, and we're going to go to this little house right here. This is where you're going to find all of the vendors. So let's look for the specific one we needed, and that was Keswick the Striker. Let's see. There he is, Keswick the Striker, right here on the right. So we're going to go ahead and talk to him and spend our Marks of Honor on these last couple pieces that we need. So we need the belt and we need the boots. And I'm going to go ahead and look for those. So here we are. Here's some belts. Marshall's Kodo Hide belt. Let's go ahead and get that. And as you can see, if we go into our appearances, that's going to check that off of the set. And there it is, Marshall's Kodo Hide belt. Again, we could buy any of these belt versions. These are all going to be checked off now with the little asterisk, just because we have the appearance, just not the named version. And then we're going to go ahead and get the boots as well. Marshall's Kodo Hide boots. We'll get those ones for 2 Marks of Honor. And when we close out of here, we will see that we have a new boots appearance, and there it is. As you can see in my chat window here, it says you completed the set, Gladiator's Dragonhide Armor. So there we go. That is how you get your last couple extraneous pieces. It's going to be from these vendors here. And just like the token pieces, you only have to get one version of them if you are collecting with sources mode off. So that's going to do it for this video. Hopefully this was helpful, and hopefully I explained all this token stuff pretty well. And I will see you in the next one.